Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Yvonne Pre-Show. I am Yvonne Pre, your little ray of darkness, and today we have the honor of speaking to such an awesome horror icon. And you'll probably say you're not, you are. You're in all those great movies. You're in Strangers Pray at Night. You're in Haunt, and at the moment, you currently have Black Eyed Susan coming out. So today we're going to be speaking to Damian Maffei. Damian, nice to finally meet you.
Well, it's good to meet you too, finally, and
Yeah, it's
like this.
yeah, it's been a long time. This is great. So yeah, I had the opportunity to watch Black Eyed Susan the other day, and I've got to say this is quite a hard-hitting film, and this is something that's actually lingered with me for a little bit after watching it. So that's a pretty great feat. I've only had another movie do that to me recently. So that's pretty great. So
Oh, good, good.
yeah, what about this film that made you really want to get involved with it?
Uh, let's see. Well, when they reached out to me for that, it was this producer Justin Martell, who I had wanted to work with for a while there. He produces that the Joe Bob Show, The Last Drive-In, and I knew he was doing the Street Trash remake, but I've wanted to connect with him, and he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, we're doing this movie, Black Eyed Susan. It's it's written and directed by Scooter McCrae." And I was like, "Oh my God, Scooter McCrae! Like, wow, that takes me way back." He said, and it's a part of a Vinegar Syndrome's new production branch company, and I was like, "Oh my God, Vinegar Syndrome! Like, that's really cool." And Fabio Fritti is doing the score, and I was like, "Get like, let's do it now. Let's just do it right now. I don't need to hear any more." And then he told me, he's like, full transparency. He told me what it was about, some of the things in there, and a lot of the exposure. And I was like, "Oh, you got the wrong guy. I can't, I can't do this." And I told him, which was true, that because he gave me the dates they wanted to shoot in, and I told him that I was booked. So I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I won't be able to do it because I'm booked." So, like, but, let's get together on the next one. And he said, "What if we push the shoot for you?" So I was like, "Ugh, all right, just send me the script." But I was like, "There's no way I'm doing this movie." And then I read the script that night, and then I remember I was just sitting in the kitchen. It was like 2 in the morning, and it was just complete darkness. And I was just sitting there. I sat there for a couple of hours. Like, I have to do this movie, like this script and all these people involved. But it was like I was having like a panic attack about doing it. But the script was just so good, and I mean, it did scare me in a champagne problems kind of way, but it scared me, more than any of the other stuff I've done. And that was like, I was like, I need to do this. So that's it.
Well, it's very different from everything you've ever done. So was it just more seeing as a different challenge for yourself as well?
It was definitely a challenge. Um, I mean, to date, film wise, I mean, nothing like that was coming my way. For a while, it's been, killers, mass killers, and stuff. And as a fairly serious actor, it's this kind of stuff. That's what you dream of coming along. So, I mean, the chance to kind of to get in there, to dive in there, very very complex movie, and a character with layers and a lot of things going on. I mean, it was kind of a no brainer for me that way. Um, so it was definitely the opportunity to do something a little new was definitely a big draw.
It's just you use complex. I find that when people use the word complex, I feel like it's what you they use to make something sound a bit more interesting than it actually is. This literally is that word complex. I can't pinpoint exactly what I was watching. I can't get the correct words for it because as much as it is a horror film, it's more of a thriller, but explores the horrors of things like Rent a Pal is the horrors of loneliness, and Babadook is the horrors of grief. This is the
Yeah.
horrors of AI and society evolving with it and using it. And that's the scariest thing about this, without giving anything away. I feel like the more, like, kind of like the least you know about this film, kind of the better, but it still needs to be talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that you saying this and you took this away and like the, probably the most interesting part for me about the whole movie without giving away any spoilers if I can is that I mean good guys, bad guys, like it's you know it's a very grounded kind of movie you know dealing with uh technology. It doesn't quite exist yet, but the the way I went into Derek, the characters that I just played him, as a guy who thinks he's the good guy, or he's doing the best he can, and he's a good guy, and then the script kind of takes care of everything else. You do the movie, do the script, and that other stuff, those layers, the complexities, kind of just come out, which is very very human being. Derek is just an average guy. That's probably not great, but he don't know no better.
Yeah, he's trying to do his best. He's trying to do what he needs to do to support family and whatnot. And yeah,
Right.
but yeah, I won't spoil anything because obviously I want people to watch this. But there is one moment in this film where I had to actually message a friend who lives 5 minutes away saying, "Did you audibly hear me yell no at my screen when something happened?" Because I was like, "No, no, that can't be happening." But yeah, I haven't had a movie do that for a while for me as well. So yeah, great work with that.
Well, good, good. Well, I'm glad. I know it's not a movie for everyone. It may not be a movie for anyone, but I think it's an important movie. Uh, and it was shot on film too. I forgot to mention that. It was the first thing I've done actually shot on film, and that was another big draw for me. And I think it looks fantastic. It looks like the movie looks like it's like from 1973 to me.
No, it does.
So,
No, it looks great. And just
which
like,
is interesting because the trailer that Vinegar Syndrome put out for it, I think, sorry, Vinegar Syndrome, does it a bit of a disservice. I think that the trailer makes it look like it's from 1993, like kind of a Skinamax movie
yeah.
for the older gents like me. Um, it makes it look like a completely different movie and not a good one. So I'm hoping a new trailer comes along quickly.
Well, I hadn't seen the trailer. I had seen just stills and just read reviews. And so, yeah,
Good.
there was no influence from that from me. So, yeah, straight into it. From the opening scene, you're just like, what am I watching? Yeah, straight away. But no, seriously, I want to talk about it more. I want to go more in depth. And I was like, I don't want to spoil anything because I want people to discover these little bits of it for themselves as they go. And they just builds and everything. But no, this is a fantastic piece of cinema that you guys made. You should be really proud of yourself.
Well, thank you. I am, and that's not it's not easy for me to say, but I am proud of it, and no regrets about doing it. Not yet, anyway.
Nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You gets to live on. No, seriously, great job, dude. Seriously, I'm really proud of you with this one.
Thank you.
Yeah. How was it working on a set where you had one of your co-stars basically naked the entire time?
It was different. Um, you know, Yvonne was, I guess they're maybe a nude model, otherwise, and so they're very comfortable being nude around, all sorts of people and stuff, and that helped ease me in, and I guess the crew was like great. It's, like these things. It's like it's. I mean, for me and for them, it's not. It's like it's not a sexual thing on
Yeah.
set. It's just like it's just getting past the awkward, you know, part of that, especially on this movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, Yvonne was completely comfortable with it, and that I think eased everyone else from it. It was like this is the job, this is the work. So just another day at the office.
I'm just imagining if I was there, like even though obviously I'm a woman, I'd be fine, but I'll still be like, don't look.
Yeah,
But
I
you know
mean,
what I mean?
it's like this isn't normal,
It's a bit
So,
different, yeah.
but that was it was this was the kind of reaction on the movie a lot was just like this is Black Eyed Susan, the razor blade in your mouth, this beating sex dolls, and it was just it was a crazy movie.
But no, as I said, no, be extremely proud of what you've done here. It's a really
Thank
important
you,
message that you do have with this. It is a terrifying concept that is in here, and not a lot of people can pull that off very well. So no, you guys are doing great with this.
thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for watching it and
No, of
watching the
course,
whole thing.
of course. But yeah, apart from that, you have been so busy. Not only have you had, or you've just got into post production for Sundown, your found footage film, but
Yeah.
also Dark Circles, which I believe you said was what was the title of it? Turned.
Yeah, Dark Circles. The original title for Dark Circles was the events surrounding a peeping Tom. And then we were having some problems with social media, so we changed it to Dark Circles. And I've never been a huge fan of the title Dark Circles. I think it's kind of pedestrian.
Just reminds me of
And
these under my eyes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and, it is part of that because there's definitely a lack of sleep in the movie. Um, but like the reason to change it to Dark Circles is kind of like make it more palatable for the average Joe, general audience, and I feel like this movie, well, yeah, it's nowhere near as extreme or whatever as Black Eyed Susan. This kind of movie is also like I want it to find its right audience. It's right crowd. It's a psychological horror movie. It's very in line with like 70s horror, kind of Polanski's The Tenants and The Sentinel.
Oh,
So, we wanted a more noir kind of Jello type title. So the events surrounding a peeping Tom is definitely going to chase people off. Uh, but I think it'll also draw in the right kind of people. And it's another movie I'm very proud of. And I can't wait for people to see it. So
well, you saying the events of surrounding Peeping Tom, I was actually thinking of that movie Peeping Tom, which I think is a brilliant piece of cinema as well. But then you mentioned the Sentinel, and I was like, oh, okay, I love the Sentinel, so this is going to be freaking awesome.
right, I like Peeping Tom a lot too. And actually, when the events surrounding Peeping Tom is very near and dear to me. It's an idea that I came up with, and my oldest best friend wrote the screenplay for it. And I grew up on Long Island in New York, and it's very suburban. The houses are pressed up against one another, and it was there I kind of thought, that a Peeping Tom would have a field day in this kind of place, and it was like I had not seen a Peeping Tom movie really. Uh, Even the movie Peeping Tom is not about a Peeping Tom in that way.
Yeah.
So, like the closest I've seen to a Peeping Tom is like George McFly in Back to the Future. So I thought it was a really kind of a untapped concept there. So that's just where it came from.
I was going to say John Lovitz and Little Nicky at the very beginning.
Right, right. There's some peeping toms that Porky steals with some peeping tom stuff, that kind of, but nothing like centered on it. And we did so much research, and it's there's the whole peeping tom thing in cinema is mostly been dealt uh comedically, except for like Norman Bates peeping through the takes the painting off. But like there's some people have a real problem with it. Like they
Yeah.
can't help themselves, and like they'll get caught and return to the same place again because they just like they can't help themselves.
Yeah.
That was part of it. And I was in a punk rock band for like 8 years, and we wrote this song called Voyeurism, and that was kind of like the precursor to the movie.
I like that. I won't say was it where you call the peeping toms, but no, voyeurism. I like that.
We
So
were called the New York Rippers.
New York. Oh yes. So after another horror nod there, I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Having a bit of a moment.
Our mascot was a rubber duck.
Really?
We had a little rubber duck killer guy because the guy in the New York Ripper talks like Donald Duck. So I don't
Oh,
know.
he
Anyway,
does.
yeah, that movie's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's another movie. It's not made for everyone. I
No,
I think of
it's
the video Nasty Craze about how that was like kind of like the poster child at one point for censorship in the UK.
that one. I mean, a lot of those video nasties were a lot softer than they made out to be, but New York Ripper is fucking nasty.
Yeah, same thing with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They'd be like, "Oh, that's the poster child for video nasty." She's
Right.
like, "There's barely any blood in this film
Yeah.
compared to most slashers." And also, if you listen to the
Yeah.
commentary about when Leatherface is killing Franklin, and you just hear, "Oh, what while that was happening, Toby Hooper's just like flicking blood out of a cup on Gunnar
Right.
Hanson's face." It just kind of ruins the
Yeah.
illusion. But yeah, it's barely anything. But yet, they didn't know what they were looking for. They just like, "Well, we don't like it, so you guys can't like it." It was stupid.
That was a wild time, the video nasty stuff, but made some infamous movies.
Oh yeah, it made like a definitive horror list for every horror fan to go through. So thanks for that, guys.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. To go out there and grab, you know, these uncut versions of these movies, these holy grails.
First one I had to get was The Burning after I watched that. So I
The
was like,
Burning's
thank you, because The
Burning's
Burning's
a
amazing.
favorite of mine, slasher wise.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
Thanks, Harvey Weinstein.
Who can thank him for one thing?
Yeah.
But with Sundown, you're doing a found footage film with this one, aren't you?
Yes, yes. Sundown was written by Brian Kilborg and Klingborg. I call him. I have called him Kilborg so much that I mess up his name now, which is fine because he spells my first name with an E. So too bad, Brian. Brian Klingborg, and it was directed by him and Marcus Slabine, who I've known for a while now, and he's in on all these Terrifier movies and Scream. They're all Fuzz on the Lens, and all these guys all doing the New York clown and killer thing. But Marcus directed this, and yeah, it's found footage, and I think it's a pretty good spooky time. And I dyed my hair for it. As you see, the roots are coming in real a whole lot, but my hair was blonde there, and yeah, yeah, it was a good time. It's about this gentleman whose mother is experiencing some problems. She believes she's being haunted by her late husband. So he brings in two trusted friends to help find if this is true, or maybe if she's suffering from dementia. So a lot of it was an interesting thing for me because there's the main camera, and I my character in the movie is the camera man, camera person, But there's a lot of GoPros set up in the house, and there was, some use of cell phones. So it's like getting all these angles and all this stuff. But it was pretty good, I think. I think.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be good. Is the filmmaking experience like a big difference between doing it in a studio or filming it normally to doing a found footage? Is there a big difference between filming the two?
Um, I mean, the biggest difference on this, you know, was the crazy perspectives from all the GoPros. It's not just like one security camera footage, shot in the movie. There's like you have to be like cognizant of every angle because there's camera pointed at you. So it was kind of hard to judge. I was like, is the movie any good? Because like I have no idea what angle like this kind of movie is made. Really the editor, I think,
Yeah.
has his hands full. But I mean, it's really all the same. It's just acting truthfully, spooky stuff, jump scare, that kind of stuff. My co-stars were great on it. It was a really, really enjoyable movie to shoot. It was a really good group, which is so fucking pleasant. Because like you go into these things and people are miserable, and the movie sucks, and just like, God, I just want it to be over with so I can never speak of this again. But this was just like fantasy camp. It was a wonderful time. It was too short, um, and hopefully pretty good.
No, it sounds like it's going to be good. So I'm actually looking forward to this.
Me
And
too.
well, yeah. Well, most people, I feel like their introduction to you in films. Well, granted, people I've spoken to recently, when I said like, "Oh, I'm going to speak to Damian Maffei," they're like, "Oh, from Strangers Pray at Night." Granted, we didn't even see your face, but everyone knows you're in it. Now, one question I'm curious to ask: when you guys did the pool scene, that was you the entire time, like under the water and everything like that, with the sack on your head?
Most of the time, I did have a stunt double. Um, when he's fully submerged, that's when mine and Lewis's stunt double, like they didn't want me and Lewis together underwater
Yeah.
because we would have killed each other. And Lewis is a big movie star now, so like they didn't want me. They wanted me to kill him. So when you see Lewis, that's my stunt double. Like when you see his face, it's like it's crazy. The mask was spinning around on my head. Um, my boots were like anvils because they were just filled with water. My pockets are filled with water. So it was definitely it was exerting doing that. But I mean, you know, as far as the pool scene goes, like 90-95% of that is me. Um, yeah. But Matt, my stunt double, he deserves credit for doing the shit that I would have gotten myself and Lewis killed.
Because I was more curious about how did you manage to perform like that with like a wet sack on your head, being able to do that and trying to breathe at the same time.
Well, I mean, it's underwater, so don't try to breathe because you'll just wind up taking water into your lungs. But it's not easy, and that's why you have these fantastic stunt people in there. Like when I pop up out of the water, when Lewis pops up and then I pop up, you know, by the time I pop up, he'd be gone. So he had no clothes on, and he made it out of the pool every time. And they're like, Damien, you've got to catch him. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like I'm just like waterlogged. It's just like even running in there is impossible. I was like, Lewis, you gotta slow down, man. So it's like that. Even that was tough. So like the underwater stuff was crazy, but it was so worth it too. But by the point that we were underwater, like I was already like, this is a very cool scene. I think I was like, I feel like we're doing something kind of special here. So like it was already like the energy and the we're all pretty pumped to make it as good as possible. And that goes a long way.
Oh yeah, like the lighting and everything with this scene is fantastic, and then having that extra layer of them adding Total Eclipse of the Heart at the same time, it just made it like
Right.
it's become such an iconic moment in the Strangers franchise.
Even people that didn't like the movie when it came out, they mentioned the pool scene. In fact, I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about it, but whatever. Lewis and I just did an interview, a feature for Vulture magazine, and they reached out and they were like, "We want to do this piece on the iconic pool scene of The Strangers Pray at Night," and I was like, "Now, uh, okay." And they got Lewis to do it. He's a big movie star, so I was like, I mean, it's kind of funny that that keeps popping up. It kind of lives on.
It does live on that one because yeah, anyone mentions Strangers to, I know people who aren't the biggest fan of it because they're so used to the first one. To be honest, the first one I felt there were times where I'm kind of like, can someone die so something can happen? Look, I know they were trying to do something a bit different, use the records instead of using a score. Yes, slow burn. I can appreciate a slow burn, but I
Yeah.
wanted something a bit more fast paced for a
You
slash.
can say it's boring. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I try. Like
The
I feel
characters
like
are so miserable. They're just so fucking mopey. And then they kill their friend. And then the guy, the strangers at the end are like, next time it'll be easier. And it's like, how much fucking easier could it be? They they hid in the house, they killed their friend, and then when you got bored, you tied them up and stabbed the shit out of them. But
like
no,
there
I like the movie. I like the first one. But yeah, I mean, Pray at Night is just
it's
supposed to be fun.
fast
It's just a
paced. Yeah,
fun slasher movie.
I'm
And
telling.
anybody that doesn't like it is a motherfucker.
It's just like I wanted something more fast paced, and I was like, I want to see these guys in open terrain actually fucking running and doing stuff. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they did. Because I remember seeing the trailer for The Strangers, the first one, and then there was that moment where Liv Tyler's in the lounge room, and then you see him pop up in the background, no focus onto him, he's just in there,
Right.
and I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And then I saw it, and I was like, what was that? That was it. Is that all we get?
Yeah.
You use the best scare in your trailer?
Well, you got 3 new ones coming out, or 2 more new ones.
Yeah,
So
I will still say, and I'm not saying this because you're here, but I will still say that Pray at Night's my favorite of the three.
good,
And
good.
I'm not saying because you're here, though I might speak to someone else and go, well, I liked this one better. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm
You
not going
got
to
it. You got to
bullshit
play
you.
the game.
I'm not going to bullshit you. Seriously, I'm not going to do that. What's the point of doing that?
Good. I won't to you either.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I even had a rewatch of Haunt the other day as well. And that's another film. You got the mask on. Then I was thinking, wait, wrong turn. Granted, we saw your face, but you had a mask. And I was like, are
Right.
you becoming a bit of a Halloweeny kind of Doug Jones or something like that?
Well, you know, when they because when they first reached out to me for Pray at Night, and that was a good friend of mine, producer, and he said, what do you think about playing the bad guy in the Stranger sequel? And I was like, the guy with the bag on his head, and I was in a bad place mentally. I quit. I didn't want to do anything, so I was like, no, no, like I'm an actor. Like that's because I thought of the first movie, and the first movie is very effective, but like the strangers are in the background, or they're not. Where are they? They're like chess pieces that Brian Bertino, kind of moved around, and like that was the beauty of it. And I was like, I mean, you don't need an actor for that, but doing it, I knew that like I mean, I wasn't going to get calls to start playing Macbeth because I played some killer with a bag on his head. But I knew that if I kind of tried to strike while the iron was hot, I could parlay it into something.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't too long after we filmed Pray at Night that Haunt came along. And they offered me the part of the devil. And then I was like, okay, so like, I'm definitely heading in a direction here where like it's no face, very, few lines characters. I was like, am I that ugly? But no, like, yeah, so I did that. And then when Wrong Turn came along, and that was Mike Nelson directed that. I love him. And I had been talking to him for a while. And they originally wanted me to play I don't know the guy's name. He's like the leader of like the hillbilly redneck
Yeah.
guys, kind of the racist misogynist. He's Tim DeZarn played him in the movies, an older guy, but like they wanted me for that, and I was so excited to do it because like that kind of stuff never comes my way. It's like you like playing the bad guys and like
Mm,
these kind of awful racist hillbillies in movies.
yes.
Um, yeah, it's why you want to play murderers too. I don't want to murder people in life, but you dive in there and it's juicy stuff. So I was very excited to play that, but then they told me wanted to go older, and I was like, oh. And then they were like, what? How do you feel about playing Morgan? And at the time, Morgan didn't have any dialogue in the script. It was just all blocked out because they hadn't translated the language yet, which is a real language. So, but I was like, oh, he's got the friggin' mask on his head. Like, again. So I was like, all right, this will be like my trifecta. Maybe I'll, no, but it won't be because I'm already going to be playing other masked people. And that's fine. I'm happy to do it as long as it's a cool movie. And as long as I get to do other stuff like Black Eyed Susan and Peeping Tom and Wrong Turn, the mask came off, and I got to do a cool bit there. I was very, very grateful to be able to do that, and that they had the faith in me to do it, because to that point, the only thing that anybody had known me from was Silent Baghead and Devil with like 3 lines.
Yeah, but that actually speaks to your physicality that you don't even need your face to be able to convey all this stuff to
Right.
everything. So that's
But
great.
Wrong Turn, it was like, hey, would you mind learning this other language and delivering this speech about your brother being killed and these are the people in this other language? Yeah, of course, of course.
Well, you can say the mask come off and it hasn't really gone back on, has it? So there you go.
Uh,
Has it gone back on? No, I don't think it has.
well, it did,
It did?
but I dropped out of the movie after 2 days of film.
Oh,
Uh, thank God, no regrets there. Not really. I have a mask on. I have like a ski mask on in Peeping Tom, but not just to hide my face for a little bit. Um, I don't think so. It will though. Again, I think. I think. So,
you never know.
but that's fine. It's fine. And
You,
so I I don't really want to play like known slashers or whatever. Like I wouldn't want to play like Michael Myers or something,
yeah.
or Jason's. Just it's kind of boring to me. Sorry. I get why people like the movies, but I wouldn't want to do that. Although if someone wants to remake The Burning, I will play Cropsy, um, or Burning 2. Uh, there's a couple of them like that. There's a couple of like non-franchise slashers I'd love to do, like Just Before Dawn, which is the Jeff Lieberman movie. It's with the two big oafs,
Yeah.
and she sticks her fucking fist down his throat. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'll happily do it again as long as I get to do the other stuff, which I already said, but I just said it.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking like actually do another burning or a remake of the burning would actually be pretty awesome, to be honest.
The
Sometimes I'm
burning
precious with them, but yeah.
the burning is one of the few there that has a final guy.
Yes.
And I have to say once again, that's probably thanks to Harvey Weinstein, right? Because think his,
I don't want to praise
his
him, but yeah.
well, I think his, his disrespect for women probably, led to a final guy. No, he's awful
Yeah.
blob, awful garbage
Don't worry.
crap.
No one's ever going to think you're defending this man. Don't worry.
Yes, no. I know I mentioned Roman Polanski before. Now I'm talking about Harvey Weinstein, but I'm really an okay guy.
You're separating the work from the person, so it's completely different situations.
Polanski made good movies. I don't know what
Yeah.
to tell anyone else.
Look, Rosemary's Baby, and I haven't heard great things
Rosemary's
about
Baby and The
one.
Tenant. The Tenant is one of my favorite of all time. But you know,
I'm still
stay
glad
away from.
I'm still glad that you mentioned the Sentinel before because I haven't met someone recently who has seen it, and I think more people need to go see that movie.
It's. I just sat there and watched it a few days ago. It's on one of the. I think it's on Netflix. Maybe it's on one of them. It's just sitting there, and it does some cool stuff. It's not up there for me with the '70s. My favorite decade for horror,
Mm-hmm.
and this so like if I'm naming favorite movies, they're all from the '70s. It is lacking a bit. I think the lead, Christina Rains, is not so good, um, and it drags a bit, but it does do some cool stuff in there. It's definitely worth checking out, especially this month.
Oh yeah, definitely this month. Because I remember when I was younger watching The Burbs and they mentioned Sentinel, and I was just like, "What's this movie?" And when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, fuck, that's
Yes, they do mention the Sentinel and the Burbs. Huh?
yeah." He says like like the old man has like the apartment that's
Right.
gated out. Yep.
Satan is good. Satan is your pal.
I want to kill everyone. Probably can't say that on YouTube.
Burbs.
I'm saying it anyway. The Burbs is
The
amazing.
Burbs.
The Burbs is just like staple horror comedy. Love it.
Probably the movie I can quote the most. I think. I think I can quote the whole movie beginning to end.
I
I think.
probably could as well. Yeah. For some reason, like the whole
Just
it's a
quotable.
bone, femur bone, that gets stuck in my head every now and then. But just it came with
Femur bone.
I don't know why it came with the frame, always pops up into my mind every now and then. Who's
Yeah,
that
that's a good one.
pretty girl? Came with the
9
frame.
on the tension scale there, Rube. Uh, you want to take that out of your pocket? You want to not steal that from Walter's house? Now that one is one of my favorites, and I just say it out in public, and of course, no one knows what the hell I'm talking about. But
Oh
you
no,
know,
no. There's so many things I say. I work with a bunch of girls who are probably about 15 years younger than me. So anything I say, they're like, okay. They have no idea what I'm
you're
talking.
like, that's one of those black and white movies. Ugh.
Oh, I someone said to me at work, Beetlejuice is an olden days movie. And I just went, I'm older than that movie. So what are you saying?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, made in the 80s. And you're like, you saying that is like me being younger saying, I don't like black and white movies because it's old, so it must be bad. That does not mean that
Well,
at all.
it's going to happen. I think every generation's gone through this at some point, but it's going to happen. There's no sense fighting it. Yeah, I guess you could try to keep their minds open. Although, like for the most part, don't horror fans, even the young ones, still kind of have a migrate towards '80s horror still, or no? Is it
No,
just
still seem to. I've got a younger sister, and I pretty much started with like Lost Boys and stuff like that. And she just gone back further by herself. So yeah,
like '80s horror still has an appeal? I mean,
it's the cheese for me. I love a
not
good
for me.
80s cheese.
Yeah. Uh,
But I do love some Vincent Price horror, like the original House on Haunted Hill. Still one of like
yeah.
probably my top five there. Absolutely love it. Love the remake, but just it's Vincent Price. I mean, come on.
And there's no reason to give it up. You can't try to relate to these goddamn kids anyway. Oh, at least the people you're talking to are watching movies.
True.
It's not just YouTube and TikTok. Because I got 3 kids. One of them's 18, and it's like I don't. I feel so old because I just He'll be like, "Hey, watch this," and show me the video, and I'm like, I don't. What are you fucking laughing at? Like, this isn't funny. It's just this guy yelling, and then there's a frog comes out. I'm like, I don't understand. What? He's like, it's funny. Like, no, it's not. And he's like, you're old. I'm like, I guess so. Whatever. Like, just let me die then.
Oh no,
Leave me alone and let me die.
I do experience that, especially with like with comedy now, because I feel like comedy now they don't know when to let a joke end, and they kind of run it into the
Yeah.
ground. We go back to like, you know, 70s, 80s, 90s. They knew when to like let the joke end and then let it like still be funny afterwards.
Well, I don't know if this is where I don't know if you wanted to go off on a tangent about
Go on a
damn kid,
tangent. Love a tangent.
but so I did the voice for this video game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Yeah.
and that has opened me up to this whole world of. I'm a big video game person, a gamer, some might even call, um, but very antisocial too.
Yeah.
So, but the game has opened me up to this whole other universe of human beings. This younger crowd who have been, for the most part, well, at least the fans of whatever I'm doing or the game have been great, but communicating with them has been what I imagine like when an alien does decide to come or we have that interaction like trying like that. I'm always looking things up. Like I'm always like like what does this mean? What is this word? What does this mean? Uh, I won't use any of it because that's cringy, or they don't even say cringy. But yeah, like trying to it's like trying to learn this whole other language again.
Yeah.
So you know, it's hard. It's hard to keep up. I don't know why I bother, but
Yeah, there are times I don't know why I bother. Like the current store I work in is a store I shopped in when I was a kid, and now I'm seeing everyone my age bringing their kids in, and I'm like, fuck, I'm getting old.
yeah.
I'm like currently hiding the greys at the moment. To be honest, there's quite a few greys I need to cover up again. But
I had earlier today. I had a decent bit of facial hair, and the white on the corners here. Like I was looking, I was like, it's just too much. I can't deal with this right now, so I had to shave it off. So I get it. And, like before when we were having technical problems, I try not to bust them out, but if I'm trying to see something, I gotta put on the
mine aren't here.
cheaters.
Yeah, mine aren't here. Mine is somewhere else. Yeah, I got to
I
do that
gotta keep
sometimes.
around because I can't see shit.
But going back to you having the voice for the video game for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what is that like actually having your voice onto something else that now people can actually essentially interact with, like they haven't been able to do before?
It's been pretty cool. It was the first time I had done anything like that. I had done an audiobook before, but the video game thing that was the first time I had done something like that. So that was cool. It was very different, and it provided different challenges, ones I wasn't exactly prepared for. But it's been pretty cool, and it's kind of shown me how like into the characters and such these video gamers are, like the lore and stuff, and these ships. Do you know what a ship? Do you know about the ship relationship? But it's
No,
just ship. When they take two characters and they put them together on their own.
I didn't know any of that.
So there's all ships. Oh, the ship. Yeah, come on, you gotta get with it. Um,
I'm not with it like the cool kids, mate.
no, no. This is fucking Twitter. It's all you see on Twitter. Um, so it's been really fascinating stuff, and they're so into it. And like any fandom, you know, everything's very hyperbolic. So everything's the best or the worst. and everything is the end of the world.
Mhm.
So, but it's been pretty wild. It's been pretty wild also. So the character I do the voice for, Johnny, um, I guess many people find him attractive as far as characters go. And then, the voice I provide for it, from what I'm to understand. So he's a bit of a thirsty trappings. Um, so that's like a whole thing. That's this whole thing is this people love Johnny. They want to fix him. They want to marry him. There's this whole I've seen erotic fan art and fanfic, and I'm not even privy to see 95% of it because they don't want me to see it because I got a big mouth. But I've seen enough, um, where I'm like, wow, that's really great. Like, do your thing. Uh, I think it's pretty cool, but like, so I've also heard my voice say a lot of over the line
Mhm.
things with AI on TikTok. So they used to like request on Cameo for me to say, like, I get a lot of Cameo requests for Johnny and to say things. And I do a lot of them, but some of them are just like ass cheeks clapping kind of thing. And I'm like, no, like, come on. That's no, no. And then like now you don't even need to get me to do it because now AI can do it. And I've heard myself saying things, and I'm like, it sounds like me. The only reason I know it's not me because I know I've never said this before.
Yeah.
So that's been interesting and awful. Um,
It's
but yeah, it's been a whole different world, the video game kind of thing.
yeah. Um, I used to game off and on pretty much as soon as it went online. I'm like, there's gonna be like little bitches gonna cheat, and I can't be with it anymore, kind of thing. And I've seen so many people who have like got on the phones to their kids because their kids had their accounts hacked and because they were beating someone and whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like some of the fun has gone out. But if you're getting fans that are coming in and playing is what playing, that's got to like really make up for it.
Well, it's as with everything else, it's adapting. It's long ways from blowing in the cartridge to try to get the game work for
Yes.
Nintendo. It's now, not only are you playing against people from Australia and wherever the hell else in the world, but like now you can play and then stream you playing, and then like my kids just want to watch other people playing video games on YouTube and Twitch and all this stuff, and you can make money doing it. So like people are like, wait a minute, you can make money playing video games. So that of course that's all they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something else, and it is a very such a toxic place, really. And I'm bad too. I'm pretty nasty. I'm a shit talker. I'm definitely a shit talker. But like these people have no lines they won't cross. So many of them.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a pretty vile place. Sometimes I just want to go run off to the mountains.
Well, thank you for your time, Damien. This has actually been a really awesome conversation. Getting to talk to you about your movies, get talk about the video game as well. I will leave you with one last question though. What's going to be your horror recommendations for the Halloween season?
Well, Haunt, I don't know, I wasn't expecting it. People should watch The Descent.
Oh yes.
Uh, that just popped into my head. I don't know what else. Watch horror movies for Halloween, but watch Black Christmas, 1974 in December,
Yes,
twice. All right, that's what I care about because everyone watches horror movies in October. Watch Black Christmas, please. It's
definitely. All right. Well, thank you, Damien, for coming onto the show. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank you.
watching. I really hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe, share, do all those great things, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.